All right. I think we are live. We are live. Hey, everyone. I was going to kind of been a bit of a chaotic Saturday. I'm not going to lie. We've just uncovered a pretty massive supply chain attack. And we're just trying to figure out what's the best way to get word out there, create content. And I thought writing blogs takes me a long time. so we're going to go live and we're going to make a video and I'm going to explain what's happening. So essentially, what's happened is a bunch of NPM packages, this is one of them, have been compromised by a threat actor. It's a threat actor that we've seen before. We know a little bit about this threat actor. We think that we know where they are and who they work for, but we can't quite can't confidently apply attribution yet. But we have definitely seen them before. And so far, a bunch of packages have been compromised. So all of these packages here have been compromised. There is a bunch, like a lot of them have 100,000 weekly downloads. In total, it comes to about 1 million weekly downloads together. So you can see them all up here. This one here has 125,000 weekly downloads, and they all belong to what looks like one organization, which is GlueStack. So we can see if we go to click on the repository here in GlueStack, what we can see is under packages, this one here, these are all different packages that they maintain, and these are pretty much all of them that have been compromised. Now, not all of these, like in total, have been compromised. 15 of them have been, but I'm going to assume that the threat actor actually has access to them. So the first one that we saw get compromised was here. We saw this get compromised. If I go to versions, oh no, this wasn't the first one. The first one was compromised around about 18 hours ago. The last one, as you can see here, this has been published about an hour ago. So this is very much ongoing. What actually happened is we noticed that the first one has been compromised. It had 100,000 weekly downloads. So we knew that it was very problematic. We knew that this was actually going to be a big deal. However, every hour after that, more have been compromised. And so for about an hour, we haven't seen any new compromises, but there's still a lot more packages from this organization that could be. So it could get worse and worse and worse. I'm just going to go in here and show you kind of what the code is, what the malware is. Just, I know that a lot of people want to see that. I'll get into that probably a little bit more. But just so you know that I'm not talking rubbish. So if we look at the code of this is the latest version that was updated about an hour ago. If we go into lib common.js and we go to the index.js, we have just the standard index.js, and there's nothing weird on here. Unless, of course, you notice this scroll bar here. This is a common tactic that we see of basically avoiding line wrapping and using white spaces, because when we scroll across, we get this nasty looking code here. And this has been added into all of them. So if we have a look at another package, this is one of the first ones that was compromised 15 hours ago, exactly the same place, common.js, index.js. If we scroll down here, we see the same kind of code. I mean, I could go through all of them, but there's not much point. We can see there. So what is actually that malware doing? Well, it's a remote access Trojan. It's really, really nasty. We've seen this exact code before. I'll talk about that in a minute, but it's really, really nasty. It's a remote access Trojan. So basically what it does is once it runs on your machine, it's a remote shell command. So you can, the attackers can remotely run arbitrary shell commands on your machine. They could take screenshots, for example. They could stop services. They can also upload files. So they can do, it's basically a total compromise. And so the fact that we have a million weekly downloads of this, where we have essentially a total compromise, it's terrifying. It's genuinely terrifying of what we have going on here. Now, what's interesting is we can see here, if we actually want to look at how this was compromised, what's happened is a personal access token, an admin token, so like a very highly privileged access token to NPM that belongs to GlueStack, and a developer from GlueStack or admin from GlueStack was compromised by the threat actors. And we know this because if we actually go and have a look here, if we look at where the last commit was, the last commit was 3 months ago in this area here. So we know that in the last 3 months, no changes have been made to the GitHub repository. And so the fact that in 17 hours ago, we do have a change. So we have 3 months ago that lines up with the commit that we saw on GitHub. And then we have 15 hours ago, which obviously doesn't. That means that they didn't compromise GitHub. They compromised NPM. And because they compromised our admin token or a highly privileged token, they compromised all of the package belonging to this organization at once. So again, pretty terrifying. So let's have a look at the code. So it's obfuscated multiple times. So it's really hard to understand. If this is like this up the top here, this is like this the code. It goes on for ages. This is directly from npm. If we clean it up a little bit, we get this, but then we still have this massive kind of obfuscated blob in here, which is this giant. And then we have to kind of keep running this line by line by line, and until finally we get something like this. This is the final payload that the attackers are running. Now we've run this in a sandbox, so we know what it's doing. What's interesting is I think the attackers will probably know that we've discovered it now, because they would have seen us running this in the sandbox, or they would have thought someone else was running it. But if we have a look at what this does, obviously this code's always very difficult to understand, but you can see here we have some domains. These are C2 servers. So these are domains that the attackers are kind of running, that the attackers are using in this process. And then if there's several other interesting things going on. Here we can see there's code relating to file uploads. So trying to get files either from the machine and also injecting them into the machine. And then if we scroll down a little bit, we kind of see down here, 317, 312. Yeah, here we have some kind of executing commands, executing some shell commands here as well. And this is more or less like a fail-safe there on that. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot to break down. If you're interested in exactly what this code does, we actually have analyzed it before. So a while ago, we wrote this blog. Go away. We wrote this blog called Ratatouille, which there was this package called rand user agent. And it was essentially the exact same. So if we have a look at rand user agent here, you'll see it's been removed, so I can't show you on npm. But down the bottom, it has the same scroll. I don't know if you can see it because of the banner. Let me move that banner out of the way. It has the same kind of scroll bar technique that you see. And then when you actually look at it, the code is almost identical. This is definitely the same actor, like absolutely the same actor. And I think they even have the same domains in here as well. And it's the same apparatus. So if you actually want to look at, kind of go into a little bit more detail about what the code does, we've analyzed it further here. It isn't line for line exactly the same. They've added a couple of commands in the new version. So the new version is kind of new and improved, but it's essentially exactly the same. 90% of it's exactly the same. And we break down exactly what it does with the C2 infrastructure, and then everything that you can do on that. So you can see it. The blog is called Ratatouille. If you look for Ratatouille Aikido, a malicious recipe hidden in Rand user agent, that's the name of the blog. You can actually have a look. And that we are currently writing a blog about this new one, but unfortunately, there's so much going on right now. We're literally still trying to uncover everything, and trying to see if there's any new packages that have been compromised. So just to recap, if you're coming here to the live stream right now, what I will say is we've discovered a very nasty supply chain attack. This supply chain attack relates to most of the packages from GlueStack. So there's about 15 packages that so far have been compromised. The first one was compromised 17 hours ago. The last one was compromised about an hour ago. And every hour in between, there's been packages. So we're seeing this live. In total, there's about 1 million weekly downloads. So it's extremely significant. These are all the packages so far that have been compromised, and we can look inside the code, inside the packages here. If we just pick a random one, this one has 100,000 weekly downloads under lib, common.js, and index.js. Down the bottom here, we see they've used like white space obfuscation and the lack of line wrapping to be able to kind of inject all of this in here, hide it off screen so it looks like nothing's there. And just to recap again, what we expect has happened is that access token to NPM, kind of like an admin type token to NPM, has been compromised, probably belonging to GlueStack, and they have then used that to kind of compromise multiple of these packages. So it actually gets even a little bit worse than this, because we have discovered even more packages that have been compromised, but these were a few days old. So 4 days ago, if I skip ahead, 4 days ago, I'm sorry, I didn't have time to make nice slides, so you're just going to have to look at my copy and pasting here. But 4 days ago, these 4 packages we noticed were compromised. And if we take a look at them, they're not crazy interesting from the point of view that they don't have a lot of weekly downloads, right? So here we've got 67 weekly downloads. So we found this, we reported this, but it's not really worth me doing a live stream about. But it is now because it's the same actor. So I haven't actually looked at this one, but I'm going to assume that there's going to be an index.js file. And here, same apparatus, we scroll across and we see the exact same malware. So this threat actor is crazy prolific. And they're clearly really, really good at getting NPM tokens. I'm very curious to know how they got the NPM tokens. Now, I'm not going to know. We can't really find that out unless the people that they stole them from discloses it. So if they tell us how they got the NPM tokens, I'll be really interested. But we won't know unless they tell us, essentially. But what we do know is they do have the NPM tokens. So yeah, lots of good fun, lots of good fun going on there. And as I said before, what we can see is like the GitHub hasn't been compromised. So now I guess we want to get onto the point of like what should you do? What should you do if this if you've been affected by this? These are pretty popular. So if you're running React Native, so if you're building mobile applications and you're running React Native, like this is you really want to pay attention to this. So what you need to do is you need to look inside your packages, inside all the packages that your applications are using, and you need to identify if any of these, anything with the name React Native ARIA or anything from GlueStack that you are using, it is time to strip that out and make sure that you're not on any of the affected versions. What it looks like now is because we found this early, it doesn't look like this has spread too far so far. So hopefully because we caught it and because we're making a lot of noise, and it is the there's a dilemma that you have to deal with here, is that we want to be fair to GlueStack, and I have I've had secrets stolen before. It looks, stuff happens, right? But so we want to be fair to them and give and notify them. However, it's Saturday. It's at a very awkward time, which is why this happens. And this is really, really nasty. So we've just made the decision that we're just going to have to start making noise about this in every possible way. So that's what we're doing. We're making a lot of noise. So yeah, that's what we're doing. And yeah, so that's what you want to do. Make sure that you don't have any of these packages installed, and rip them out, or make sure you fix to a safe version. I would just say that it's time to. I mean, it just depends if it's going to break everything. But yeah, I think it's time to remove these if you can, and or at least be very, very aware. If you do have these in your projects, anything relating to this, anything relating to GlueStack, even if it's not one of the packages that we've said that have been compromised, then you got to make sure that now is the time to check for your infrastructure, look for weird IPs, domains, any shell commands that have been run. Essentially, that's what we want to do. It's really, really nasty. So I'm just going to recap one more time, just from live, for those people that may have joined in a little bit late. We've just discovered a massive supply chain attack that pertains to pretty much all of the GlueStack packages here. So 15 of them so far have been compromised. We've seen about one compromise every hour over the last 17 hours or so. So it's still ongoing. More could be compromised. We're seeing that in total it's about 1 million weekly downloads. So pretty like the overall impact. So it's pretty severe. It's this threat actor that we've seen before. We know what their malware does. We can see their malware. If we see it, you can see it in all of these packages pretty much in the same place, except for one exception, which is in lib, common.js, and then index.js down the bottom. And if you scroll to the right, here you see this juicy malicious code. What this malicious code is a RAT, a remote access Trojan, and it pretty much allows you to run, well, pretty much allows total takeover of your systems from the attacker. So really, really nasty stuff there. It's from a threat actor that we've seen before. We know they're apparatus. They're very prolific. They compromised a bunch of packages 4 days ago. Now they're compromising this, and I suspect we're going to see a lot more coming out, but we'll be on it. So that's pretty much what I have for you today. I'm going to wrap up this live stream. I've got to go get back to some more disclosure, but I hope you found it interesting. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to do this every time we find a big supply chain attack. So wherever you're watching me, make sure that you subscribe so that you can find out what's happening. Every time we do see a new attack happening, I'll do a live stream to explain it and to kind of give you the latest of what we had. But if you are using any packages from GlueStack, unfortunately, you're going to need to be very vigilant over the next couple of days. Everyone, of course, has been notified, and we're making as much noise as possible so that we can kind of notify everyone. Unfortunately, it's a Saturday, which is just the perfect time where these threat actors do that. But if you are there, and just one last time for anyone that's just coming in, if you're wondering what the heck is going on, what's going on, there's a supply chain attack pertaining to all of these packages. One threat actor has compromised all of them. They all have a remote access Trojan in them, and it's about 1 million weekly downloads in total. Plus, the actors have also some other packages as well. So I'm going to sign up now. I know I just said that before, but I'm going to end the stream, and I hope to see you guys next one. Remember, like and subscribe wherever you're listening. I'm sending this out to a few places, so hopefully everyone can get it. All right, see you in the next one.